Hey there, it's Mackenzie, your host of Winning. We're looking for sponsors for the podcast. If you have a business that you would like to promote to thousands of people, send us an email at podcastwinning@gmail.com or send us a message on social media. I cannot wait to hear from you. Now on to the show.
Winning is your guide to making it in business. Join our award-winning host and entrepreneur, Mackenzie Kilshaw, and special guests in casual conversations that will educate and inspire you on your business journey. Winning will help you learn the hard lessons the easy way with guidance from celebrated entrepreneurs and business leaders. It's fun. It's informative. It's winning.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Winning. I am your host, Mackenzie Kilshaw, and today I am so excited to have Alicia Soulier on. Hi, Alicia.
Hi, Mackenzie.
How are you?
I'm so good.
Good. I should preface, Alicia and I are good friends. She's also my boss, and I know in episode 1, we talked a little bit about SalonScale, my job there, and Alicia is the CEO and co-founder of SalonScale, and it's an amazing company that is literally revolutionizing an industry, which I'm so proud of you that you saw a problem and are solving it. And it just makes me so happy.
Oh, thanks. I'm glad we get to do this together.
Yeah, me too. So a little bit about Alicia. She's an award-winning hairstylist. She has been in the industry for over 16 years, and she owned a hair salon. She noticed that there was a leak. So somewhere her profit was disappearing, and she set it upon herself to figure it out, realized it was her back bar. We're going to talk a little bit more about this, but she created an app to track the cost of her back bar, and which is SalonScale. And right now she has over $1 million ARR, so annual recurring revenue from people, in just 3 years. So that is an amazing feat. And Alicia, really what I'd like to start with is, can you tell me, start from the beginning, what you started out as a hairstylist and how did you get to being a tech founder? Because it's such an amazing journey.
Good question. Honestly, I think I always say that tech kind of found me. I did not find tech. I was probably the least technical person before I founded a tech company. But I think, sometimes in life, you just have these moments and you have a choice to act on them or not. And so, about 4 years ago, that kind of door knocked for me, and it was kind of staring me right in the face. It was a problem I was having for a long time, and I had this light bulb moment that was like, oh my gosh, all we need is this update in technology. Wait, we just need an app that can, measure color in real time. Now, I know getting to that almost sounds a little bit like, how do you just think I need an app? But it would actually happen the day I was renovating the salon. So I was getting the salon painted, and there was the machine that mixed paint, and then I went and got frozen yogurt. And I kind of just put those two technologies, let's say, together. And I was like, holy shit, we just need almost like a simplified machine that can tell me the cost of hair color in real time. And very quickly, I kind of walk myself backwards, which most entrepreneurs do, is if you want to solve a problem, start at the very end and then work your way back. And that's kind of what I did. And as I got all the way back, I realized that all we needed was something for the digital scale to talk to, which was, again, this app. So 4 years ago, I looked at this problem and I was like, okay, you're going to be the one that's going to do this, jump. So I jumped. And I found local company to build our first app, our first MVP. And I knew nothing, honestly, Mac. I mean, we've talked about this lots, which is you kind of don't even know really what you're getting to, but it's almost like the calling is so big that it's forcing you to just jump. And I had to listen to my gut instinct. And out of anything, my gut hasn't failed me yet. So I jumped, and now 4 years later, we're putting profits back in salon owners that were just like me all around the world. So it's just kind of a dream come true.
Yeah. You know what? When I remember you were doing my hair, and so Alicia's coloring my hair, and she's telling me, I'm going to make this app that's going to tell me the cost of the hair color. And I'm like, well, what do you mean you don't know the cost of the hair color? As a business owner that had a clothing store, I knew if a shirt was $10, I'm going to sell it for $20 or $25. So I'm like, so you mean to tell me that you don't have any idea how much this color right now you're putting on my head is costing you? You're like, well, no, not really. And it was mind boggling to me. I'm like, how are you a business owner and you don't know the costs? You know, I mean, you knew your color bill, like weekly or every 2 weeks, whatever you ordered it, but per person, you didn't know that. And it was just mind boggling to me that an industry such as the hair industry, huge industry in the world, didn't know. And like, for you to see that and also to take that leap to be like, I'm going to solve the problem. Wow. Like that was amazing. And I know you said you didn't know a lot about tech before this. So I'm just imagining you didn't dream about a tech job when you were younger or a hairstylist. But right now, I feel like you're living your dream. And I don't know if I should put those words in your mouth, but you're an inspiration for an industry and you are changing it. Like it's amazing. So good on you. And are you living your dream? I guess tell us, like, how do you feel about this? It's a big change.
Yeah, I appreciate you, bringing that to light. I think absolutely I am. I think as a little girl, I was always that loud kid in the class that couldn't sit still and just wanted to be the class clown and drive attention. And I just knew I was meant to be something bigger or do something bigger for many other people other than myself. So what I needed to do was really to manifest a life where I could serve so many more people than myself. And, SalonScale just happened to be that thing. And when we talk about dreams and we talk about that, like, absolutely, because, now I remember visualizing myself as a child. I remember me being in a, corporate setting with suits and like I was, around a boardroom, and I kept visualizing this as a kid. I didn't understand what that was. So when I chose to be a hairdresser, it was like, well, I guess that dream is gone, or like I might not be that person. Or maybe I'm the hairdresser that wears suits. I'm not sure. But that kind of spiraled into, again, now the fact that like I am actually living my dreams. And it's something that I remember very clearly as a child, that this is really what I wanted to do.
Yep. And I mean, the path that you got there, right? It wasn't conventional.
Never.
Right? Hair school. And you were an entrepreneur. I mean, you owned a salon, a very beautiful, successful salon, busy salon. I mean, I went there. I still go there. You don't own it anymore, but I still go. But you were an entrepreneur. You were dealing with all the daily life of an entrepreneur and, paying bills and solving problems and doing all of that. And you took on another job essentially to solve a bigger problem, not just a problem that you're having, but a problem that everyone else was having. So that's
it
wild.
kind of feels like, like those Christmas ornaments that like eat each other, like the like egg that gets bigger. Like I'm like, That's kind of how I feel like my life is. It's like, oh, you're a hairdresser. Then now you're a salon owner in that thing. Oh, now you sell online digital. Like I had a online distribution company for a bit there. And then all of a sudden the biggest one now being SalonScale. So I'm like, well, what the heck is next? Because it's just like, it just keeps getting bigger.
I know. I was talking the other day with another friend and she's like, why are you having another job? Like, why are you doing a podcast? You're nuts. I'm like, I know, but it just feels like you're right. It's just like the next thing, right? And I know you and I have a very similar thoughts and beliefs about helping other people and helping rising, right? Community over competition.
Yes.
And I know that that's so important to you too. And it really is. You're helping people and it's lifestyle, right? You're helping them make more money, have more freedom, not have to work every single day or 10 hours a day behind the chair, right? And it's life-changing for people. So I can't even explain my excitement about SalonScale. I didn't even come from the industry, but it's just such a game changer.
It really is, honestly. And it's like, I don't know. I think that's the best part, is that it's truly giving transparency to the salon owners so that they can have, the confidence to run their businesses the way that they've always wanted. So I think that's, I don't know. I think even too with us having conversations from, entrepreneur to entrepreneur, it's like you sometimes lean into like the vision side and the creative side, and you have all these plans. And sometimes facts are what you're missing. And when you're missing a huge thing like this, and that we could build it and give it to people. Oh my gosh, it's like, it feels like you're doing a magic trick over and over and over. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is. Do you maybe want to just give a little overview really of what SalonScale is? Because I know lots of people listening to this aren't hairstylists, and lots are, but a lot of people probably don't really understand how you didn't know your cost before and how now SalonScale is solving that. So give us a little synopsis about what the app does.
Absolutely. I think I'll speak first on the technology, then I'll speak second on the industry. So the first one is, the technology is very simple. It's almost like a calculator in the pocket. So it can be used on a mobile device or a tablet. But stylists, hairdressers, colorists, salon owners, anyone that goes to the back bar, just like they're punching in an order at a restaurant, now they can punch in what their formula or their color is, and it gives them the cost breakdown. So forever we would go to this back bar, and we would mix color up like an open bar. And I always explain it like a bar. And actually what I found out was hair color is actually 3 times, actually it's almost 4 times with inflation now, 4 times more per ounce than alcohol. So it's no wonder us as salon owners, while trend is changing and we're using so much more color, that this open bar became a massive leak in our business. And it's something that really needed a change. So essentially it was like, when I made SalonScale, I was like, this has to be the most simple thing of technology, because we cannot have a very complex technology at like our most creative aspect of our job. So essentially, yeah, they can go ahead and they can enter in with select whatever their formulas are. And it just is like, keeps a ticket. It keeps a transaction of what they used in color. The second part to this is the industry side. So a little over a decade ago, we didn't have social media. We didn't have things that would connect us on a global scale. And so when technology increased, our social media came out, trends really ignited, especially behind the chair. So we would have kind of these high dimensional services that would take us 3-4 hours to complete and cost 10 times as much color as we used to use before. So the need for our solution was at its highest. And if you imagine, 10, 15 years ago, we were only getting highlights. Now you can go and get balayage, you can get a tone, like a tint and tone, you can get like a fresh face framing treatment. You can do so many things with your hair now. And the hair has gotten to a level that it costs it costs almost 10 times more to color your hair now than it did before. So those two things colliding, what we call those is like instances. So when there's an instant in an industry or in society or in environmental, when there's some big factor that happens, such as social media came in and changed the way that trends are, well, something is going to be in effect. And that was, again, our bottom lines in salons, because those salons ultimately at the same time were like, holy shit, we need a solution, or we will never be able to make profit or be able to stay in business. And so that is kind of a long-winded way of saying, where trend meets technology, that is kind of what SalonScale did.
Yeah. And I remember too, when you first, because like I said, my mind was blown. I'm like, how do people not have the cost? This is wild. And you talked about the frozen yogurt instance. And that is such a great analogy, because if I go and for frozen yogurt and I only put 2 toppings on it and I don't take very much, it's going to cost me less. So maybe that's a root touch up, or I go there and I'm like, I want all of this balayage and lowlights, highlights. I'm not a hairstylist. I don't know how it all goes, but all of this stuff, and they're using 3 bowls of color on me and I'm there for 4 hours. That's like getting 12 toppings on there and loading your cup up, right? Like,
absolutely,
you pay for more. And I think too of my husband, that's a plumber, he goes to a job, he gets paid so much per hour, and then whatever his supplies are. And so I know that's what a lot you talk about too, is parts and labor, because everybody's supplies are different. So that's their color, or now I know extensions are included, foils, gloves, all the things that a stylist would need. And it's just so awesome to me that they actually know now when I leave there exactly what it costs them to do my hair, right? And they can make sure they cover things.
Absolutely.
Like not just hair color. You got to pay for what? A lease, your staff, your internet, your water bill, like all of those things, right? They're not just paying for color.
You know what? I actually came to learn this one in recent, which I will share. is depends on the margin game you're playing. So if you have a high gross profit margin business, so let's say your product costs like 50 cents and you can sell it for $100, like that's a high gross profit margin.
Yeah.
So that means that you can burn on things, like you can throw things away, you can give them away, you can do a lot of things because you can sacrifice that margin for speed. Right. But then if you think of a hair salon has some of the smallest razor thin margins. So I'm talking like the average salon profits between 4 and 8% if they're lucky. So if $100 service only gives them $4 to $8, they cannot afford to just be giving away random, even an ounce or gram of color. It's just too much. It hits the margin too much. And so that's what I started to realize is no matter what business you have, you should always be profit first. And you should be focusing on that gross profit margin so that you can understand how much, like, what is your strategy on marketing? What is your strategy on selling? How much room do you have to give things away or not? And when you truly understand that, like, that's where the blessings of your entrepreneurship to the skill set of really understanding your metrics really ignite into something amazing.
A huge thank you to our sponsor, Just For You Day Spa and Wellness. Just For You is Canada's premier day spa with 5 locations in Alberta and Saskatchewan. The award-winning luxury spa features Leah Reese cosmetics and iconic Betty jewelry that you can also purchase online. Visit www.justforyoudayspa.com to book your service or to purchase a gift card. Yeah, you're right. And I think too, especially in the hair industry, if you're only realizing that 4 to 8%, that's when you have a salon owner that is working 6 days a week, 10 or 12 hours a day. Don't take a lunch break. Don't take a, right? Because you're got to just put as many people through your chair as possible to be able to make money, because you have to pay your staff and you have to cover all those costs, right? And it's just so awesome that technology, and that's kind of our topic today, technology is saving the day for those people, because now they know what it costs them. They can charge correctly and they don't have to work 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, right? They can put that money back into their business, into education, into only working 5 days or an 8-hour day like everybody else works, yes. Right? Yeah. So it's just, I mean, you know that I love the app, and obviously I work for SalonScale, so I feel like there's a little bit of a commercial that I'm doing, but it's not. If you're in the hair industry, you need to check it out because it is game changing, and you shouldn't be an entrepreneur that's always struggling. You should be an entrepreneur that is successful and winning.
Yes.
And
hashtag winning.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that's the whole, you don't want to work your whole life for nothing.
Yes.
You want to work your whole life for something, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So I love it.
I think also too, I was going to say on the topic of technology, I think if I was going to give someone advice about technology, especially in their business or in their life, is to like jump into it and try as much as you can, because you know that funny joke where it's like your parents don't know how to use the same remote, or like they can't even figure out how to like turn on Netflix because the technology is too much. The technology is growing at like 100 times the speed as anything else. So if you don't get into technology right now and learn how to do that, like that's how you're going to scale out your life, scale out your team, scale out all that stuff. So I'm the person that is just like, I'm that person that's like, oh my God, I don't even know how to use like an email. Like that's even hard for me. And so, but what I do is I encourage myself every day to try and build things with using technology over pen and paper, all that stuff, because nowadays, like it goes that fast that like, if you're not on top of that, it all of a sudden you could feel like the way that we make fun of our parents, maybe that can't figure out how to use something. Yeah.
No, that's such great advice. And I mean, you're right. Like we have literally technology at our fingertips. We all have a cell phone. We all have, right? Like you're on technology and using technology all the time. But if you don't progress with it, you're behind.
Yes.
And if you're a business owner and you don't progress with it, you're really behind. Like if you don't have a website today, you better go build a website, because you are 10 years behind right now. Right. So having an app, it's just such a way of life now. We need it, right?
It's the difference of having Amazon regular or Amazon Prime. Like, you want that stuff now. And so technology is going to give it to you now.
Exactly. Okay, so a question for you, for people that have an idea and they're like, I think an app would work for this, or some piece of technology. So you're a hairstylist and a salon owner in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Like, what were your steps? Like, I know you had this idea and you're like, I need somebody to make it. What the heck did you do? Like, where did you Google it? How did you find out? Because I think a lot of people have that light bulb moment. They have that idea, but they have no clue where to go or what to do for the help to realize it, right? So what was that journey like?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is, once I was like, this is a thing, it completely like overwhelmed me. Like I was saying, like it was a really weird feeling. Like, if you do not do this, someone else will, and like you need to jump. Like, that was the feeling. So I did start with Google, and I just kind of Googled like what like apps, like how do I make an app, all that stuff. And what came up was a local app building company. And that's like, I remember like that day being like, can you meet me today? Like, I just was like impatient. I'm like, we're going to solve this now. But I think I literally had an appointment within 24 hours with this company. And that was really the first slice to understanding like how to build this into an app and what an app is. And then that coupled with, at the same time in Saskatchewan, a local company called Collabs was being started, which was a accelerator or incubator for tech startup ideas. Like, if you have an idea, you can come to this program. They teach you how to like build this company, what you're going to need. And I was like, well, this is very awfully convenient for me. And so I got in, right? And
it literally is just down the road,
yeah,
right?
like literally happened exactly the same time. And so I got in the first cohort. And if I didn't have collabs, I don't know if I would be talking about this with you today. Because what I learned was it wasn't just like make an app, put it in the app store and boom, you're rich. Like, you got this. Everyone will sign up. There is so much more to it. So like, you have to make sure like you own your IP, you own your code, you have developers, you're constantly making sure things are updated to the standards of Apple and or whatever stores you're kind of in. But I think the big thing was I learned how to be the CEO of SalonScale, and I learned how to really understand what I needed to take this thing to market. And after a few months of being through their program, I graduated. And from there, like I said, that was like exactly what I needed. So if I was giving any advice, if you're like have a burning idea, the first thing is like don't be afraid, but find a local accelerator or incubator somewhere that can kind of foster your idea. And then from there, they can really help you understand what you're going to need for the next steps for your idea. And don't hesitate. The big thing is like, we let fear get in the way of everything. And if there's all the time, is like the number one thing is you have to have confidence in yourself, like confidence. Out of any venture that I've ever done, out of anything I've ever did in my life, I can always coin confidence as the key ingredient as to why I was successful in whatever I did. So have the confidence to take a chance on yourself and then just go for it.
Well, and I think too, I mean, what's the absolute worst? Like, we all have fear, and fear really drives a lot of people, right? What's the absolute worst? If you would have so you found this company, you found Collabs. If you would have went there and said, this is my idea, and they said to you, we don't think it's going to work as an app, that was the worst thing that could happen. What if you never did that? You would not be where you are, and you would not have changed this industry that needed so much help, right? So that fear would have just stopped you dead if you did nothing.
Oh,
right?
Exactly.
And look where you are. Look what you've done.
Exactly.
And it's scary. It's scary. But I mean, it's if you never take the chance and you don't ever try, then there's nothing, right?
It's very easy to stay comfortable. Like, it's very easy to stay comfortable in your life and stay in the bubble that you know everything in your life, you know where things are, I can control this. The moment you kind of step out of that bubble and it feels a little unstable, a lot of people feel like, oh, I either have to like team up with someone to feel comfortable to staying out here, or else I have to go back into what I feel like. But growth is on the other side of that bubble. And it's important, as as someone, as humans, for us to continue to grow and expand our minds so that we can feel greater than or more than or discover more parts of ourselves. And so having that courage and that confidence to step out to the things that make you feel so damn uncomfortable is worth it, because even in its failures, you only grow. Here's the funny thing is, you can go and win and get growth, and you can go and fail and also get growth. But if you stay exactly where you are, you're never going to grow. You're just going to stay in the no. And that might not be what you really truly want in your life.
Exactly. And I mean, all of us as entrepreneurs, we failed, right?
Yes.
Like so many times I'm like, well, I don't know what's going to happen. I made educated guesses and something flopped. And you're like, well, I tried. You move on, right? I always think like, take a few moments to recognize the failure. What did I do wrong? Or what happened that it didn't work out? Move along. Like you can't sit and cry about that forever. You got to move to the next thing, because the next thing could be a huge success. Right?
Absolutely.
And that's what's going to prove out. You got to keep trying and keep working to get those successes. And the failures are going to come, but we all go through it, right? It happens and you move along from it, learn from it, and continue on.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. I do want to ask quickly too, because I was talking to someone the other day about funding, and I said, you need to look for some government grants. You need to look for some investors. You need to look for, and I know you have, I don't even know, I know it's millions. I don't know how much, but you have literally gone from being a hairstylist to doing presentations and getting people to invest, as well as I know that there is a lot, especially for technology, there is grants as well. So do you want to talk a little bit about that process? I mean, I can't imagine it's easy to ask people for money. But you've been really successful at it. So how did you do that?
Oh my goodness. Good question. The answer is 3.3. So we've raised about $3.3 million in 4 years.
Wow.
And that is both dilutive and non-dilutive funding. So dilutive meaning from actual investment, and then the non-dilutive comes from government grants or loans or whatnot. But essentially, how do you do this? The first thing is you have to have one hell of an idea. So you have to have one hell of an idea and one hell of a pitch on how you're going to, return those people's money if you are getting investment dollars. So it's really important. And in the first stages, I think what's really important is a lot of the people that invest in you in the first couple rounds, they're investing in you. Like they're investing in you. They have to feel like they're betting on their ponies, right? They're showing up at the horse track and they're like, I want to bet on that horse. Like that's basically, they know that you have something that is you're eluding that confidence that they just want to get behind. So you have to have, number one, the ability to have the confidence that like, if I part with my money, there's going to be something at the end of this. The next thing is just truly to understand why you need your money. Like, why do you need this? What are you trying to do with it? And so I think the big thing for me was, if you could buy growth, would you? And the answer was yes. And so I was willing to part with shares of my business early on to be able to get out into the market faster. So how do I do that? Well, I needed to make sure I had enough people to do this type of thing. So I just basically took the next 2 years of what my plans were, what I wanted to build, how many people I would need to do that. And then I took all those operational expenses, put it on a sheet and said, I need $2 million to make this happen, right? Because you could just see that that's how much the expense would be. In order to do 2 million, I'm also, projecting that we'll do X amount in revenue. So there's that. On the other side is you have to exercise it at the exact same time. Like the best time to get non-dilutive and dilutive funding is to do them at the same time. So my co-founder is responsible for the non-dilutive side. So Kim and I really worked as a team, a yin yang, where she is so the other side to me. She's so organized and she just truly understands this part. And so what she did is she went after getting the grant, like getting the writing done, getting the proposals done, and matching those things up to like what our plans were on the other side. And by doing those things together, we really were able to do that. Now, the last thing I'm going to say is you're going to have a lot of conversations, and so you have to have like the right story, but the story can't change. It's like if you give a testimonial or a testimony and then you change your story, your credibility is going to change and you will not be a witness on the stand whenever that case kind of gets to light. So you have to make sure you are so dialed in that your message is not like you are not changing. And so I believe we raised our money because we still operate today off the exact same pitch deck that we started with. We might have just made it a little bit more fancier and added more things to it, but the same mission and value and vision and what we want to accomplish is still exactly the same. And I think that's what really helped us get capital.
Yep, I agree. And I think that's why you're successful, right? Because you're not doing this to, I mean, we're all in business to make money, but you're doing this to help the industry. You're doing it to right a wrong, really. Like it hasn't been done correctly. You're doing it so people are profitable. And when you do something for those reasons, then it stays with you, right? And I just did a whole recording about a business plan, and I don't know how many parts it's going to be because I'm still doing it. But just when you're talking about the pitch deck and like you got to have the info, you got to do your research, cannot stress that enough. If you don't know what you're talking about and you don't have that mission statement and that vision and belief, no one else is going to believe in you, right? If you don't know where you want to go, how is anyone else going to follow along with you, right? So important. I think I already know the answer to this, but I don't want to speak for you. Did you have a major turning point in your career?
Yeah. I wonder. I think maybe building a global tech company might have been the turning point in my career. I think that was it. Yeah. Like I think I would have never guessed that again, I'd be in a technology a role now. But I think again, that completely changed my life in so many different ways. It expanded me as an entrepreneur. It collided everything. Like when I was a salon owner and when I did other things in my life, like I was a hairstylist, I was a creative. And then when I was a salon owner, I was still like a creative salon owner, but I was like running one department of a bunch of hairdressers. And then now with SalonScale, like I am now, far more on the business side, but I live at the intersection of I would say like cross-functional teams. So from sales to marketing to development. And so every day is learning. And the turning point for me was the years of being a hairdresser taught me how to communicate with every different type of department and taught me how to communicate with different types of people and the way that different people work and talk and communicate. And so thank goodness that I spent majority, like 16 years behind my chair in the salon space, allowed me to be the person I am today. So that was definitely my TSN turning point for sure.
Well, that's the thing, right? You didn't even know the journey you were on while you were behind the chair. You didn't realize how that was helping you. But now when you have a company with all these different areas and all these different people, and lots of people work remotely, right? So lots of people, you're face to face with them is through a computer. And you're making it all work as one big cohesive team. And I'm super pumped. We have a meeting this week actually, and like to see everybody in like real life is just so exciting for me. Okay, most important lesson you can share. So at any point in your entrepreneurial journey, what's the one thing that resonates with you or that you really are like, this is my thing that I want all entrepreneurs to know?
The thing that just pops right into my head right away, it's not about you. That's probably the biggest thing I would have to say is this is not about you. It's about how you serve others. And you're going to go through a lot of journeys where people say things that suck and people do things that suck. And you're going to try and take it personally. But when you're an entrepreneur and you're pioneering and you're building new things and you're doing things, these are not the journeys that everybody wants to stay on. So you have to understand it's not about you. It's about the mission or whatever you're on. And try not to take all these things so personally, because some people will be with you to the end, but a lot of people will not. And so you just need to be comfortable that it's not really all about you. It's about what you're trying to do.
Yeah, that's great advice. And I feel like when it's about the journey and the result, that's a little bit easier to take, right? It is hard, especially when you start. It's hard. And, there's always those negative Nellies that try to, say things to discourage you. And you're right. You have to leave those behind, because surround yourself with people that tell you good things, and not just tell you what you want to hear. I don't mean that, but that lift you up, right? And that help you get to where you want to go. That's really important, is having that community and network of people, for sure.
Yeah, I think.
What about one thing you wish you had known? Is there something that you're like, oh darn, I wish I knew that 5 years ago or sooner, or?
That's a really loaded question.
It is.
I mean, I wish things would come a little bit faster. Like, I wish I would have learned things a little bit faster. I think, I don't know. I really live very presently, to be completely transparent with you. I don't really live in the past. I don't hold a lot of the past. I'm either like right present or future focused. So when I say I wished I would have had things, I find it really hard for me, because I don't ever live in like the past. I kind of accept what I've gotten and then I kind of go from there. So it is a hard question to ask without saying it. It's just that I just try to live as presently as possible, so that and honestly, just accept it for whatever I was supposed to know in that given period of time. I will have it.
Yeah. I mean, hindsight is definitely 2020, right? When you're looking back at things, you think, well, duh, of course I wish I would have known that then. But I think it's important. You don't look in the rear view, right? You're full steam ahead. And I know that's your personality. And I think that's part of why you've been so successful, right? Because you're very driven and you're very like, I see the end goal and how am I going to get there? And that's part of what makes a great entrepreneur. And that's why you are where you are, because you are always looking for, the next thing that can help someone, the next best thing on the app, the next community event that you can go to and talk to and tell people about your journey. Because a lot of people are sitting here listening to this right now thinking, I have an idea and how the heck do I get there? And you really help them. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Where can people find you? Instagram, tell us your handle so that people can go on and follow you and connect with you a little bit more.
So my handle is Alicia Soulier .SalonScale. So that is my Instagram handle. You can find me there. And of course, at SalonScale handles, I'm always obviously around there. So you can always find me there as well.
Awesome. And we are going to put all of this on social media as well, on our page. And so people can know where to find you. If you're in the hair industry and you haven't looked at SalonScale yet, or you have and you haven't made the jump, this is not a paid commercial, but please do it, because I can guarantee you it's only going to help you. Alicia, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. I know your schedule is wild, and to take this time out to help some other people along the way is really special. So thank you. And as a friend, thank you. I appreciate it. And we will see you all on the next podcast. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, Mackenzie.
Thanks, Alicia. Thanks for listening to Winning. Be sure to subscribe to get all of our new episodes. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others. Post about it on social media and leave a rating and review wherever you listen to Winning. To catch all of the latest from us, you can follow Winning Podcast on Instagram at winning_podcast, Facebook at Winning Podcast, and on Twitter at Winning Pod. Winning was created and is produced by me, Mackenzie Kilshaw. Music created by Summer Furby. Editing by Seth Armstrong. Special thanks to Shauna Foster for voicing our opening. And of course, a huge thank you to this episode's guest. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode.